Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back on a Fortnite video, and in today's video I'm going to be going over my strategy and exactly what I do when it comes to going for high kills and as well going for a lot of wins here in Season 9. I'm going to be covering everything when it comes to where exactly you should land, exactly how to rotate and just pick up a lot of kills, and at the exact same time being able to clutch out and also get the win. And before we get into the video, I have a weekly V-Buck giveaway. I'm going to be giving away V-Bucks every single Friday, and if you guys want a chance to win some free V-Bucks, all you guys need to do is to drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and as well subscribe to my second channel. I post a ton of really good content on there, so make sure you guys do subscribe, turn on my post notifications, and as well leave a comment down below of your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And if you guys would like to support me as a creator in the item shop, all you have to do is go over to the item shop, go into the bottom right hand corner, support a creator, and type in my code. My code is Younghumor. Type it in and you guys will have me supported as a creator. And alright guys, let's get to the video. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking through and really explain my step-by-step strategy when it comes to getting high kills and also getting the win here in Season 9. So in the gameplay I have in the background, I end up dropping about 17 kills, so I absolutely went off as one of the better games I've had in the past week. So a very good game, and I want to talk through it. So when it comes to landing locations when you want to go for those high kills, and of course if you want to play a little bit more passive, and it definitely works a lot better if you're going for more wins. But for me personally, the two places that I've been landing at the most have been Paradise Palms and also Pleasant Park. Those have been the two locations that I've been landing at the most. And for some reason, just for me, I feel like I found the most amount of people going to those locations. And of course, I found I'd say a good amount of people who go to Tilted Towers, but for me, I really don't like Tilted as much as I used to because the layout's completely different, and for me, it's just a little bit more difficult to get around and find loot. So for me, I really don't like to go to Tilted, and I've also noticed not as many people go there as much anymore. Of course, you could probably still pick off 3, maybe 4 or 5 kills if you're lucky, but really Paradise Palms for me, what I've seen is a ton of people going there every single game, and you're almost guaranteed of at least, I mean, I've had games where I walked out of Paradise Palms even today where I walked out with 7+ kills just off spawn, and unfortunately ended up dying in that game. But either way, walking out of the early game or right off spawn with 7 kills really can set you up for those 20+ kill games that really can set you up for those really high kill games, getting 7 at the beginning. Always recommend if you want to go for a high kill game to try to get at least 4 or 5, but if you're getting like 6 or 7, that's a really good start, and you can definitely drop a lot of kills in that gameplay with that kind of start. And if you decide to land at Pleasant Park, every single time I usually end up hitting the lake, because at the lake I've seen so many teams fight around there, and I don't really know, I think some people land there. For me personally, I've never landed there. I didn't think it was that really good of a landing spot, but for whatever reason I end up finding a ton of people passing through there time after time again. So even if I do land Tilted, but like I said, I really don't, I usually go to Pleasant Park when I land on that side of the map, I will head over to the lake every single time, and I usually pick off a team or two while I'm there, and then from there rotate over to Dusty Divot. That's really my go-to when it comes to finding a lot of people and also having a really good rotation. And so most of my games, I would say I'm landing at Paradise Palms, and when I'm going down there, I rotate every single time. I'll head up to Retail Row or Mega Mall, whatever it's called now. I head over there, and usually I'm going to find a team or two which I can pick off, and then immediately I can rotate over to either Salty or Dusty Divot. More than likely I head over to Salty because it's just a little bit easier to get to, because I can land right in the slipstream beside of it and then just carry over and land right on top. And if I don't see a team there, usually there's going to be a team right where the campfire is, or the other house. I usually call it Grandma's. I don't know what you guys call it, but it's the house that's by itself right outside of Salty with the campfire, and it's a really good spot. You can find a good amount of loot there, but there's usually a team around there if there's not one in Salty. And then of course Dusty Divots, more than likely throughout the middle of the game there's going to be teams running in and out of there constantly, and that was the game that I dropped 7 in the beginning. I ended up killing like 4 or 5 more people just at the Dusty Divot, where like the buildings are, not like in the divot, but like where the buildings are. I found quite a bit of teams around there. I ended up killing like 2 or 3 teams. I left and then I came back to another team going there. So that's just a choke point around the map, and all that means is basically a place that a lot of people pass through and go through all the time. And just being in the middle of the map, a lot of people are going to be going through there through all parts of the game. Later in the game, mid game, pretty much whenever, there's going to be quite a bit of people landing there. And even I've landed there a few times off the start and I found a few people, but there really isn't that good for rotating, so I'd either go Paradise Palms or Pleasant Park and then make the rotations that I was just talking about. And I was actually kind of surprised, but apparently a lot of people are still liking the combat shotgun. For me, I like the pump way better. I'm way better with it. I can absolutely go off, and it's not really a pump. If you're just going to measure a pump in a combat shotgun, obviously the combat is going to be the way to go. But when you're using the pump shotgun, you're not just using the pump, you're going to be using a pump and SMG. And just because of the higher damage output you can have with the pump, that's the reason I like it the best, and I hit a lot more shots with it. So for me, the pump shotgun is the way to go for those guys who are curious. Some people really like the combat for whatever reason, but for me, I think the combat is just really bad. I can't hit any shots with it, and it's not like it's really bad, but for me, I'd much rather have a pump and an SMG than a combat shotgun. So as far as going into gunfights, when it comes to the best strategy or the strategy that I use when it comes to going into each gunfight, and one thing that I always do every single gunfight I go into, so even if I'm fighting in a build fight, maybe I'm fighting a guy for only like 10 or 15 seconds and make it pretty quick, but of course the best thing I can do is try to end the gunfight as quickly as possible. That's just going to be one of the #1 things that I do every single gunfight that I'm going to try to do. I really don't try to drag it on. If I see a guy who's like a 50 or 100 meters away and they're really just posted up, I'm not even going to be worried about trying to go for like a sniper battle or trying to quick scope them or anything like that. I'm basically just going to straight up rush them, because if I just sit back and then try to snipe them, it just drags out the gunfight for way too long. And when that happens, typically there's going to be a lot of other players who are going to be joining up. I'm going to get third-party shot from different directions, different things like that. So I always like to end the gunfight as quickly as possible, and that's really one of the best tips that I can give you guys when it comes to going into each and every gunfight. And also another thing I do is, in a ton of times when you get into a lot of different build fights, gunfights, there's going to be a point in time where you get a lot of shots on the other player and they're going to be boxed up. And when they're boxed up, I'm really mindful of getting shot from any other direction. So one thing that I usually do that's very effective, if someone's in a box, more than likely I'm going to box up around them, because I've seen this happen time and time again, and this is something that I do, is when I'm looking into third party and gunfights, I usually see the player, not the guy who's boxed in, but the other guy who's trying to break in. Maybe they're trying to go for a pickaxe wall replacement or anything like that. So they're trying to break in, and a lot of the times I'm going to laser them in the back with my scar, hit him for about 60 or 70 damage. So the best way to prevent other players like myself from getting shots on you, the best thing you can do is just make a box right next to him. So even if you're going for the wall replacement, and most of the time I'll try to be really quick, I'll try like 1 or 2 times if I can't get it right away, and I want to keep trying different things. More than likely I'm going to make a box around me so I can't get shot from my left, from my right, and all these other directions. So that's just another really good tip that you guys can use that's been very effective for me. If someone's not really giving away, they're just sitting in their box, not really making a play, I'm going to build a box right next to them and then try to make a play from there. Otherwise, it just really helps me from getting shot from different directions and not taking as much damage, because the second I get shot for like 60 or 70 damage from my left or right, then the player inside of the box is going to be going for a challenge on me, and at that point I'm at a pretty big disadvantage because I just lost like 60 or 70 HP, and that's really the last thing you want to happen. And as far as my strategy when it comes to the end of the game, and I mentioned this in just a previous video I did just the other day, but my go-to strategy at the end of the game is going to be playing very aggressive. And what I mean by that, there's a few different ways of playing aggressive that I should really talk about, and I play the more conservative type of aggressive. And what I mean by that is, when I'm going into the end of the game playing aggressive, I'm aggressive as in rushing other people and getting close to them, because a lot of people like to box up and sit back, play a little bit slower. So what I do is I rush, but at the same time I'm rushing in a way that they're not going to be able to get a lot of shots on me. So when I'm rotating over, I'm a little bit more conservative in a way, or maybe I'm using a little bit more materials than I would need to make sure the other player doesn't get any shots on me, because there's no point in playing aggressive. I'm giving up like 100 HP to do so, or even if I'm in a build fight, there's no point of trying to get high ground from the other player if it's going to cost you 100 or so HP. It's really almost never worth it. So I would much rather have HP than have high ground, and just playing a little bit more aggressive at the end is the best way to play, because people are going to be sitting back, and even if you are able to get those shots on the other players, they're just going to heal up. They're going to have plenty of chug splashes, minis, chug jugs, slurps, big pots. At the very end of the game, with the increased drop rate of shields, there's going to be a ton of people who have a lot of shields stacked up, so there's no point of just sitting back and playing really slow. And with that being said, that's going to be my go-to strategy that I've been using every single game. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys do drop a like. It really does help me out. And alright guys, I'll see you next video.